Thankfully, you all chose to distract him. Look, you say, pointing to a distant tree. It's an old trick, but it works. The soldier looks away. You rush forward and knock the musket from his hands, and then you push him down. You're tempted to shoot him, but you resist. The blast might alert his fellow soldiers. So you kick him in the stomach. He yelps in pain, and suddenly you hear voices coming from the woods, and they sound familiar, and you dash in their direction. You go to the Maiden Stone with the officer, Mr. Richards. You cook his meals and clean his clothes in the cabin for him. I went to the wrong page. Sorry. You dash in their direction. Now I have to go to page 58. I knew that didn't sound right. Sorry. The voices were from men of your regiment. You joined them on the march toward Philadelphia. We almost won the Battle of Germantown, one of the men says. If only we hadn't run out of ammunition. You know that's hopeful thinking, that you were outnumbered by the British. Your regiment marches on without stopping. At last you reach White Marsh, 12 miles north of Philadelphia. You sleep on the soft ground. It's dirtier than a pigsty, and the smoke from the campfire burns your eyes. Supply wagons deliver beef. The cook roasts it over the fire. Your small share is all burnt on the outside and raw on the inside, but you gobble it up eagerly. One day your captain announces, General Washington has ordered us to defend the forts on the Delaware River south of Philadelphia. We'll camp at Fort Mifflin and keep the British ships from coming over the river. You march on toward Fort Mifflin. You spend the night in a village where people offer you a good meal and a warm bed. But the next day you go hungry again. On the third day, you find a goose. By the time it is cooked and divided up, you only get one wing. There's no salt and no bread to go with it. Oh, Piper's here. Hi, Pipes. And Mr. Petey. In late October of 1777, you reach Fort Mifflin. You set up camp and take turns standing guard. An officer takes you aside and says, this could be rough. There are 400 of us trying to hold back the entire British Navy. A zigzag stone wall makes up one side of the fort. The other sides are half-built stone walls and separated by ditches. Cannons line the walls. A small pen between a stone wall, like a pen, not like a pen, like an animal pen. A small pen between a stone wall and one of the fort's wooden walls is the only safe place. For 5 weeks, 12 British ships fire on the fort. The British lob, which just means like shoot, more than 10,000 cannonballs over the fort's walls. After so much bombing, the fort's walls are rubble and there is no protection left. So here's the picture of more than 150 Continental soldiers died at this battle of Fort Mifflin. We must raise a signal flag to the American ships in the river to the north. They will help us, an officer shouts. He asks volunteers to raise the flag. Before you can offer your help, a sergeant volunteers. He climbs to the top of the flagpole and attaches the flag. But as he climbs down, he is hit by British gunfire, and he falls to his death. Soon 4 or 5 American ships begin firing on the British. Their help gives you some relief, but it's not enough. The British have won the battle. That night, you and the rest of the soldiers sneak away. Before you leave, you take one last look at the fort. The area looks as empty as a plowed field. You have served in the Continental Army long enough. It's time to go home, but your captain urges you to be a good patriot and sign up for another year. So now we have 2 choices. Do we A, go home, or do we stay in the Continental Army? So we can either go home or we can do our patriotic duty and sign on for another year. Thank you.